So I stand here today in a room full of adults, and some of us just turned into one, like me, and a few of my classmates I see here, while there are also a lot of people who are much older to me. We have among us guests from a wide range of ages and professions. We have medical professionals, we have food bloggers, we have engineers, and we have students among us. So it goes without saying that all of us have different opinions, views, and perspectives to everything in life. And how do we develop these opinions? They come from the environment that we grew up in and the way our parents and our elders molded us when we were learning and when we were getting familiarized with this world that we live in. But despite these differences, I think we all have a few things in common. When was the last time any of you present here, or I myself, thought about talking animals or flying saucers? It has been a long time since then. We do not look at things from a silly perspective with creative twists or carefree attitudes anymore. Everything is gray now. Our thoughts no longer have the same color they used to have. Why is it? Why does our life have to now revolve around whatever we're doing? If it's our work, it's work. If it's studying, it's studying. If it's deadlines, it's only that. Doesn't have to be that way. And we think to ourselves if it's the energy that we have lost for our imaginations to prosper, or is it just that we deliberately suppress that part of us? I believe that it is the latter. Here's why. On some days, I really sit in my veranda and spend a good deal of time arguing with a cat about how wrong it was to use my scooter's tires as a scratch post. But I also have other days when I walk past the same cat with no second thoughts. And what goes in my head in these days is I have much more important things to do at home. This might not be a very good way to spend my time right now. And I have also noticed that this usually happens when there are other adults around watching, or if I've had a long day at college, or if I'm tired or sick. But had it been a toddler in my place, a 4 or 5-year-old who just got home to see a cat waiting at his doorstep, what do you think he would have done? He would have stopped right there to play with the cat, to make friends with it, lead it into his house, and name it. Because that is what makes the child happy in the moment. He doesn't care what time of day it is, be it his TV time, snack time, nap time. In the moment, what will make his heart satisfied is playing with the cat. No matter what the adults think about him or anything else, that is what he wants to do in the moment. The child is true to himself. If he is on a playground and if he finds a long wooden stick, it is not a mere piece of wood. It is a long-lost sword from a fairy tale. And I believe that we all have that toddler still living within us, but we don't let him take as much control of our lives as he did back then. And that part of us that we keep suppressed is what we call our inner child. So we might wonder, why do we keep it suppressed? At times, we even look at letting our inner child out as a sign of vulnerability. And this is mostly because we care too much about what others think of us. We think if I let my silly side out right now, my colleagues might lose their respect for me. What if the new opinions they form of me are not in my favor? All these thoughts go through your head. But I believe true vulnerability lies in not acknowledging and recognizing your inner child. As adults, we choose to ignore and we fail to acknowledge his wants and his needs. But reconnecting with your inner child can do wonders. Now, the way we deal with certain situations today, the way we arrive at a conclusion, has to do something with this inner child. For example, if there was a man and a child at the peak of a mountain and they see another peak in the distance, and they want to get all the way from here to the other peak, how do you think their thought processes work? The adult thinks in an orderly fashion. He thinks, I'll have a 45-minute hike down from this mountain. Then I'll have to find someone who can help me cross the valley and get to the other mountain. And then I'll have another 45-minute hike all the way up. It is strategical and it is practical. But is it creative? Not so much. That's how everyone present in this room would think in the moment. But how does the child think? He will stand there and wonder, what if I flew across? That is how the child thinks. He is the definition of thinking outside the box. And one thing we fail to notice right now, when I said that, most of you might have thought, of course that's how a child thinks. He doesn't have to be practical. But let's not forget, if no one thought like the child did in the moment, we wouldn't have aeroplanes today. That is how inventions are made. And I believe that connecting with my inner child has been all the advice and reassurance we need at times. We don't need to look for it elsewhere. So let me take you on a little journey about the time when I moved from Navi Mumbai to Kochi. Even though Kochi is a city, it is happening. It is not as happening as Mumbai. I was a person who used to go out to play at 8 o'clock in the evening and come back at 11. And now I'm in Kerala, I find myself in bed at 8:30. I'm done with everything. So that is a major transition. So initially, when I was in Mumbai, the coronavirus pandemic was going on. And I finished my 10th grade there. And me, my father, and my brother, all three of us got COVID. And amidst of all the isolation and quarantine, for several reasons, we decided to move to Kerala. So now let's skip to when I finally shifted to Kochi and the lockdown restrictions were uplifted. Now we are in my new school, and initially I'm having a hard time making friends. I wasn't as fluent in Malayalam as all the other kids here, and it was a bit bothering. I found it difficult to accept my new situations and adjust right away. So I started with making a few friends first, but one of them in particular somehow made me realize that things were much simpler if I let the flow take me wherever it will. And when I did that, I found my inner child taking the reins of my life, and I watched him work his magic. Suddenly, I started seeing these patterns of similarities between the people I knew back in Mumbai and the people I met here. And that strange feeling of comfort and familiarity in an unknown place can be all that you need in the moment. And that is what happened with me. And the same feeling helped me involve myself in several things. And I joined the sports teams. And suddenly, I didn't feel very out of place. It was no different than what I had back in Mumbai. And I could say the same thing about college. As adults, all of us have created this little safe bubble or have built up walls around us that we don't easily let people into our safe space until we truly know them. And that is what happened. For the first few months, it is almost as if you're on alert. Can I make friends with this person? These people, are they going to be helpful? That is how you think. But what about the time when we were toddlers again? When we were in kindergarten or the first day our parents dropped us off in our nursery classroom, we've all heard them tell us how much we cried in the morning when they dropped us there. But 6 hours later, when they came to pick us up, we come outside talking and giggling, holding hands with 2 or 4 other toddlers of our same age. How is it that in a mere 6 hours, a 5-year-old can make a bond that will last a lifetime, while we can't seem to do the same now? I think we can if we let our inner child out. And today, dealing with certain problems can seem very difficult at first, but all we have to do is find comparisons with how we dealt with problems when we were little. Like the time we were all learning the English alphabet for the first time, it might have seemed like an alien script. What are these? I don't understand alphabets, and it seems difficult, but boy, are we wrong. We enter college, and now mathematics is everything but numbers. I don't even think that's a good idea. It's so unnecessary to have alphabets in math. But then we think, if I could master the English alphabet, the base of a universal language when I was 5 years old, there is no reason why I can't master calculus today. That is how we go about a problem now. So connections. When we talk about connections, there are mainly two types of connections, right? One's within ourselves, when you sit and think about things, when you introspect, and connections of the second kind are the ones you have outside of you, with others or with the environment or the activity that you're doing in the moment. Now, if someone rings the doorbell and I'm getting the door for them, then my connection in the moment is with me and the door. And those do not make a lifelong impression on you. When I'm done doing the activity and when I'm out of the environment, those connections are lost. But what about the connections within you? We never think about those today. They do not have to be established. They just need to be found. They exist within us. All we have to do is take time off of our busy lives and think. Ask yourself the difficult questions, like, am I happy? Is this what I have to be doing right now? Is this where I saw myself 10 years ago? Or can I go much higher than where I am right now? Those questions help you connect with your inner child. And why I say inner child? Because what we do today and what we aspire to do today and be today is what we dreamt of when we were little. So that is how you find connections with your inner child. And we do this knowingly or unknowingly in life. And in certain moments, you are healing a part of yourself. If there are any people here who were not allowed to go on a school trip when they were little, they will relate with what I will be saying now. The feeling of disappointment that you might have felt when you were not allowed to go on a school trip is not something easy to forget. I might have made peace with it back in the day, but looking at it now, I'm still sad about it. It doesn't go. So when I have a child of my own tomorrow, and if he asks me to sign his consent form, I will be reminded of the trip I didn't go on, all the pictures of my friends I saw that I wasn't in, and for all these reasons, I might sign that form. I'm not saying my parents were being cruel or inconsiderate when they didn't send me for that one, but they might have had their reasons. But rather, now I think that it was an experience that every child should get to have, and for that reason, I might sign my own son's form. And when we go to parks as adults, or when we take our little siblings to the park, when you push them on a swing or you see them come down a slide, it becomes physically impossible to hide a smile. You will be reminded of the first time you were on a swing and your parents maybe pushed you on a swing. That sensation of tingling in your belly of zero gravity when you're sitting on a swing, it is not easy to forget, but it is the most beautiful feeling when you look back at it. And when you look back at it, nothing else matters in the world anymore, except that feeling of happiness and bliss you feel. That is what connecting with our inner child helps us do. It's difficult to make peace within ourselves. To make peace with others is easy. You can talk it out. But to sit and take time off of this fast-moving cabinet of stress that we're trapped inside, that is what's difficult to do. If we all just sat back, forgot about all our regrets, what I shouldn't have said back then, what I shouldn't have done back then, what I didn't get to do, or what I have to do tomorrow, all the worries and the anxiety about what the future has in store for us. We never take time off of all of this to sit and appreciate and make peace with the imperfect present. And that is what we need sometimes. To just forget about everything else and reconnect with your inner child. You will find answers to so many things that leave us perplexed otherwise. So that is all I want to say today. Take time off today. When you go home, sit back, leave everything else. Spend time with your kids, for the older audience, with your siblings, for everyone present here, and just think about how good the days were when you did not worry about professional things. Maybe your worry in the day was, if I'm going to play cricket today, will I get to bat? Or will everyone go home before it's my turn to bat again? Those are the things we should worry about sometimes and look back and find comfort. Thank you.